opportunity goes begging.
Absolutely, got to eat those. Just coming with a little bit of a run in, St Kilda. Bad mistake by Collins, but you need to make them pay. Especially an experienced player like Brad Hill. That was a soda for him.
So Noble makes his intentions pretty clear. He's kicking long.
Top locks it up. The two Palm Beach Crumman boys flying against each other there. Ethan Reid and Jed Walter spoiling each other. Two lads drafted together in the first round a couple of years ago.
Owens doing a bit of everything today. Wobbly one inside 50. Sharp with strong hands again.
Impressive. A very good defender in Sam Collins.
Just got to get some more reward here, the Saints, for their good work.
Now this kick has to be dead eye, and it is to Clark. Well, that wasn't convincing. Looked back, wanted to pass it.
Twice now. So we saw Mitch Owens about 5 minutes ago.
He does pass it. Wangadeen Millerer sets sail for home and offline.
He wasn't confident from the word go.
Well, he had no momentum. So he got it in the standing start. He needed to have momentum from there. Suns got to do a better job, though, taking out those inside 50 targets. When they have time to set up, Damien Harvey can be really frustrated with that. Equally, Ross Lyon will be frustrated that his two best kickers missed goals.
Opportunities going begging for the Saints with 13 scoring opportunities apiece. Noble shaking the football there.
Ball's got a rattle.
Well, it's not ticking. Along the wing. Here's Humphrey with some scamper. And now Rao to the top of the square. Kicks in the right spot. Couldn't quite mark it. Trevellier at the back. Hill with a little bit of work to do, and Trevellier, they're going to get out of it. Trevellier's kick is good to Burns. They're off the slingshot. What can St Kilda do? Kicking ball to Jones. Jones and now Hill. Some more metres gained from Hill out to Hall. Hall along the boundary. Wangadeen Millerer. He's happy to arch the back and have a bounce. Almost run down. Kick inside 50. No Marshall. Higgins at the back. They're mopping up the Suns, Noble and Flanders.
Just need to stop here. St Kilda done well just to get over, just to cover up the options. Try and force another long kick.
So Matt Rao, 5 games off his 100th. Kick attracts a crowd. Reid couldn't mark it. Clark out to Trevellier. It's going to be a free kick. It's going to Trevellier.
Yeah, lucky. It was free. The free kick was definitely there, but off to the races, the Suns.
Kick in the Sharman direction, and Collins, good little battle, and Collins wins the football, that time being in the front spot. The Humphrey.
That's just terrific defence from Collins. He's one of the best in the business.
Humphrey, spearing ball. Webster with the fist. Caminiti couldn't quite take the mark, but by hand to Clark. Keeler looking for Trevellier. Not quite. Humphrey meets the two young men together, Trevellier and also O'Connell. And together, he was holding it.
Keeps wanting to go back, young Trevellier. But they build up the uncontested marks this quarter, Jared.
Yep.
Up around now up to 25 uncontested marks. The Suns 12. Only took 10 in that second quarter.
So Wood has it. True centre wing. Looking for Higgins. And Witz, that size there.
Inside forward 50 has hurt them all day long.
Miller, Powell, look away handball. Little bit too cute. Burns was on the scene. Andrew grabbed by Clark. Ball it up.
Definitely lifted the pressure out of this quarter.
Ross Lyons pulled the trigger on his sub. Hugh Boxall comes on and Wilson is off.
Sarah Jones, thank you very much. So Hugh Boxall on for his third game of footy. Flanders, Anderson, Ainsworth runs back with the flight. Oh, that was silky smooth to Reid. And he plays on quickly, hoping for Humphrey, and found him.
It doesn't surprise about Darcy Wilson. He just hasn't really hit his straps this season compared to last. just 5 possessions today. Hasn't really, didn't really have any influence.
Second year.
Yep.
Can I have a second year, is it, Jared? Can I have it?
Just to get back to business work, get himself back firing.
50-50 proposition in front of goal. Bailey Humphrey, judging by his numbers this year. His 50th game. He hit 5 famously against Geelong last year. Directly in front from 35. And that's glanced to the right.
Yeah, miss. We ordered their set shot goal kick in the first half. That's a letdown.
Yeah, just leaned back on that one. Get a good look at that.
4:44 left on the clock in the third term. A Saints goal would create a lot of interest here, John.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. They fought their way back into the game. It's just been their execution when they've had the opportunities.
Wilkie. Banging in Miller up. Oh, it's a worm burner, and it wasn't the distance anyway. Gave Hall a hell of an assignment. Webster pressured by Holman and out.
Rangan Miller has 6 kicks, but only at 50%. So it's just been their execution. I feel like St Kilda's had the better quarter.
Yeah.
It's been that execution. The pressure's been good. And going 4 to 2 behind the Suns.
Holman went in hard. Philippou got the handball out to Hall. And Marshall along the ground. Now Owens and Collins in a battle here. Owens by boot got it to himself. Collins handballs it out back to Collins. A little kick to Wood. Wood looks at the big sticks. Was smothered by Andrew. Now Higgins with a chance. Higgins out to Burns. Burns' kick was smothered. Hot potato. Andrew. Out he goes to Closey. Suns defending grimly. Anderson with the one hand. Coughs it up to Windhager. So Saints press again. Centre half forward Philippou. Sets sail for home. And hits the post again.
Well, it's been a terrific 10 minutes for the Saints. They just haven't been able to finish the deal. It's brought a wry smile to Ross's face, but they have worked really hard. As Ethan Reid puts his head set on to talk to the coach.
Rao. Miller. 2-on-1. Saints have numbers here at the fall of the ball. Caminiti went the fist. Has to go gathering himself under pressure. On the ground, Boxall worried out of it. Long picks it up and holding it.
Oh, yes, duck the head. There's a reason for that. Duck the head, you give up prior opportunity. It's more of a safety thing, isn't it? To discourage players from ducking the head, Jared.
Yeah, there's a few that put their whole career and life at risk.
And it looks as though there's been a substitute made for the Gold Coast as well there, down to Sarah Jones.
That's right. Ethan Reid is off. Malcolm Bruce's Jr. is on.
Not a bad move, actually. The Gold Coast key forwards have just battled today. Get the ball to ground level.
Boxall's first real involvement. All ricocheting around, and another stoppage with 2:36 left on the clock.
And maybe get to the ground level, a bit more speed in the forward line,
Yeah,
Jared.
no, I think it's the right call. They haven't been marking it inside that forward 50. I think Caminiti's actually had a reasonable game. I keep saying he's continuing to improve.
Yeah.
Saw him in the first practice match this year at down at Linton Street, Moorabbin. He got flogged as a forward and they pushed him back and he's been going well ever since.
Miller. Swallow. Spearing ball. Keeler.
Killer playing Moses, so it's a different challenge for him. And backing back, I like this today. So it's the second 50-metre penalty we've seen for the man on the mark backing back. I just think it should be a hard and fast rule. You're on the vicinity, you're on the mark, you stand there. You're not allowed to back at all.
Keeler's 5th game. Hasn't been seen since round 7. Both he and Jones inclusions today. Wilkie out wide Hill. He's been busy in the third term. 2 minutes to go. Third term. Windhager searching ball towards full forwards. He was being held, Owens, and the umpire was all over it.
Yeah, umpire's right there. It's that wrap around. It's what the umpires look for. He's saying that his arms, he held with his arms.
Well, Owens kicked the first goal of the match for St Kilda. Can he put through an important one here late in the third term with only 90 seconds left to play? To give them some belief heading to three-quarter time. Owens on the runway. It's a crucial miss.
Actually good technique there by Owens. He did squeeze his arms in, so it does make it look like the defender is holding.
Yep.
But it asks the question of the umpire.
Jeffrey. Probing ball. Andrew worked his way to the middle of the pack. Burns, Hill, Wanganeen, Miller.
Paul.
Wobbly one into the middle. They're going to gain possession here. Despite that poor kick, Jones to Sharman.
Safe set of hands, Sharman.
Yeah, he's been plucking them. Just haven't been able to get the mark a little bit closer to goal.
So they've worked so hard at creating opportunities for themselves. Sharman, well, first he was indecisive, then he wasn't sure, and sent it straight down the throat of Andrew.
40 uncontested marks this quarter, Jared, for St Kilda. At 10 in the second quarter.
So Fiorini happy to let the clock tick here. Late in the third term, no Mark Keeler. Yeah, Rowell brought it down. As this line works the magnets.
Well, they'd be pleased with the opportunities they've given themselves, but when you're going kicking 1-6, it makes life very difficult in the term.
Philippou's kick won't be a mark. Jeffrey hasn't heard the call, now he has, and Collins with the last possession. So they've lifted St Kilda. Don't touch your dial wherever you are on the Sunday ticket. They're coming at the Gold Coast. It's going to be an interesting 30 minutes. It's now 19 points at three-quarter time.
All right, there we go. Three-quarter time. Welcome back, Ala Rose. Bernard, how you going? Let's hope the Saints can get 61 on top of the Gold Coast Suns. It was a better quarter there. 1-6. Saints, you got to kick straight. My gosh, 1-6. Will that come back to bite them? Wowee. Mind you, Gold Coast could only put on 2 points. A bit of a slow quarter in that term. All right, let's go and have a look at some of the stats because we haven't seen who's on top and what's going on here. Goal scorers for the match so far. Ben Long for the Gold Coast. He's on 3 goals. Ben Ainsworth on 2. Jed Walter 1. Took Miller 1. Nick Holland 1. Sam Closey 1. For the Saints, Cooper Sharman, the only multiple goal scorer there with 2. Wanganeen Miller on 1. Need a big next quarter from him. Jack Steele on 1 also. Mitch Owens on 1. The ball magnets so far, Wanganeen Miller continuing his great form. He always seems to deliver there for the Saints. He's up to 26 disposals. 19 kicks, 7 handballs, 3 marks, 2 tackles, 2 clearances, 1 goal, 1. He's having a good game. Noah Anderson, next best for the Suns on 24. Took Miller, 23. Jack Steele for the Saints on 22. John Noble, he's always good, always performs, doesn't he? John Noble, he did for the Pies, and now he's doing exactly the same for the Gold Coast Suns. He's up to 22. Gives them a bit of spark and a bit of speed off half-back. 16 kicks, 6 handballs. He's had a couple of clearances. Let's keep on rolling down a little bit, just a little bit. Yeah, watched some Essendon games this year. Some they were good, some they were a little bit ordinary. But they were reasonably good against Richmond. They were reasonably good against Richmond, I saw. So that was pretty good. I watched the Anzac Day game. They were there for a little bit. I think Collingwood ended up running away with that game, didn't they, from memory? Correct me if I'm wrong. Zach Jones on 14 for the Saints. Callum Wilkie, 14 as well. Ben Ainsworth, as I said, 2 goals for him. 12 possession, 8 kicks, 4 handballs. Doing all right for his 2 goals. McAndrew, how's the star going there for the Gold Coast? He's had 11 touches. Of course, he's had 9 kicks. He's always going to have a few marks down back. He's had 7 marks as well for him. Jared Witts, the big man for the Gold Coast Suns, just the 9 touches, 3 and 6, 31 hit-outs, 5 clearances, so he's doing pretty well, is Jared Witts also. And Rowan Marshall doing a bit of ruck work there for the Saints, 6 touches, 3 kicks, 3 handballs, 17 hit-outs, 2 clearances. Let's just have a look at some of the team stats. Not too much in it, just 22 plus to the Saints. Kicks and handballs all similar. Inside 50, 37 for the Saints. So they need to get a wriggle on there and kick a little bit straighter. 15 scoring shots for inside 37 times. Gold Coast Sun in there just a few more times. 42 inside 50s for 14 scoring shots. Free kicks. St Kilda are taking the pleasure in the free kick count here this evening as 15-9 plus 6 to the home team. The Suns' wits are doing the job there in the ruck, 35-21. Clearances all pretty tied up. Centre clearances though, the Suns getting the better of the Saints there in the centre clearance. Contested possessions, both teams going hard at it. Of course, 34 uncontested for the Saints. I think they were saying they dominated a bit that quarter, that third quarter. Marks inside 50 though. Really good numbers for both teams. 8 for the Saints, their season average 11. Gold Coast Suns, 12, already above their season average of 11.8, so that's pretty good. Just quickly looking at the tackles, both teams tackling pretty good in this game, 53-48. The Suns bringing the heat in their forward, 50-12 already to the Saints, just the 3. That's the scoreline at three-quarter time here at Marvel Stadium in Melbourne. It's the Gold Coast Suns by 19. We're going to get back down to the ground. They're going to take us into the final quarter where, well, a lot of us, actually, before we quickly move on, let's just have a look at the live ladder. This is the live ladder. The Gold Coast Suns, let me just turn that off. Gold Coast Suns sit in third position as we speak. If we turn the live ladder on, they'll remain in third position, 1 game behind Collingwood sitting on top of the ladder. And that percentage is looking really good at 132.8. And of course, don't forget, Gold Coast has that game in hand. They've still got 1 extra game to play, so they could be quite easily sitting on top of the ladder when they play that extra game. And of course, St Kilda down there in 14th position. There we go. They've only won 4 games for the season so far. Gold Coast, I think that's 9, so they've won 7. They've played 9, won 7, lost 2. That's the live ladder switched on now. So for some of the teams up here, especially Collingwood, Brisbane, we're definitely hoping, and perhaps Adelaide, Geelong, and Hawthorn, we're hoping that St Kilda can come home with a barnstorming finish and get the job done. Tell you what, the Suns are going to be pretty hard to beat. Let's see what the Suns are made of in this final quarter. Let's see what the coach of St Kilda have said to their players. I'm sure he's given them a bit of a rev up and said, come on, boys, get your act together. All right, let's head back down to the ground for the final quarter. It's the Suns by 19.
In that third term, they just weren't able to capitalise. It's 19 points, but the game well and truly alive here.
The sub does work for him. He took off Garcia a couple of weeks ago and then was rising star the next week. So hopefully gets the same return from Darcy Wilson.
So Wilson off and Boxall on, and for the Gold Coast, Malcolm Roses is subbed on as well late in that third term. First foray forward, Gold Coast Suns, Rioli.
Brilliant.
Humphrey, Rioli, cut off by Sinclair. Marshall, pummeled by hand, a steal and a ball up.
Yeah, that wasn't the handball to give that time because you're just giving it straight back, well, straight to a stoppage anyway.
Well, fumbled it out. Humphrey trying to flick it out. Burns putting the pressure on.
He did well there, Humphrey. He put his hands in, didn't collide with the head that was down in front of him. Could have been nasty.
Marshall won it down, but Anderson threw it on the boot. Wobbly sky ball inside 50 with a chaos ball. Walter, Wanganeen Miller are off the deck. Burns overran it, Closey overran it. Jeffrey looking for King. King pressured out of it. Sinclair, Wanganeen Miller are now in the goal square. And they can get out of trouble here with Wood.
It's better by Wanganeen Miller, so he didn't go up to the stoppage there. He stayed back as a loose. They need to have him out in space.
So Wood, long probing ball out for Owens, who beats McAndrew with a punch. Boxall, bit of a fend off, goes for a little bit of a bounce. That was clever. Just kept the ball moving forward to Jones and then to Sharman. That was clever from the man who's playing his third AFL game today.
Yeah, it's great movement of the ball from Wanganeen Miller. His first kick hit a target, and they were off to the races. This was excellent stuff from Owens. But then we got a classic push off it. Don't argue. Don't see a handball to yourself too often.
So the opportunity's been created, and Sharman puts it through and capitalises, and we've got a game on a Sunday night.
Great comeback. He's been the best forward on the ground. Jared, this man, Sharman, they're playing on a really difficult defender in Sam Collins. Great opportunity. I love that force forward. So we didn't see any of this in the first quarter. Since quarter time, though, they have been able to score from half back. This one was from defensive 50, so just kept the ball moving there. Didn't slow it down. Eventually decided to go. Happy to go for that longer kick now. Time's getting desperate, but I love the 5. Zach Jones, you just see him there, number 3 on the inside. He just keeps going and bursts. That's what you have to do. Just keep supporting his teammates, and they had the outnumber over Matt Gamble all the way.
That's good inclusion, Zach Jones. Having an impact.
So the Saints fans come to life early in this 4th term. Patted down, Miller off the deck. Progresses it a good 35 metres or so out to Flanders. Just a touch of the fumbles. Windhager came in, takes him off the ball, and then won the football momentarily, and then Webster happy to walk it out.
Yeah, terrific work by Windhager. Didn't give the free kick away, won the ball back, got a stoppage.
Witts down front and square to Rowell.
Jack Steele's done a pretty good job on Matt Rowell. He's trying to push in against him with the stoppages.
Yep.
They're trying to get crossover here, Rowell and Anderson working together.
Young Boxall on Rowell as well, so that's an assignment for the young lad.
Play on, not 15, play on.
So, the full.
Out of the full, Matt Rowell's pitch. See mate on the line, okay? Yeah, stand there.
And Steele's able to do that. So they followed the Brisbane Lions model. Dunkley pushed into Rowell a couple of weeks ago and took him out of the game.
Only 6 touches for Rowell today. Kick to the top of the square. King down to Ainsworth. Miller barging through. Handball coughed up to Windhager. Sinclair leaves D50 to Sharman up the ground. Burns angles the back. Handball in the middle, makes Hill work for it. It was an errant handball. Anderson then grabs.
Good by Jeffrey, just coming off the wing. It was a weak player, came forward to defend.
Sloan making a contribution to the swear jar, and rightly frustrated there, they were off.
Might have been just questioning that handball.
Witts down to Anderson in mid-air towards Walter. Caminiti grabbed by Flanders.
It does make a difference though. Like, it's a 4-metre handball. It's a golfer, it's a lost ball if you can't hit a handball that small.
Jared, in here.
Anderson just lapping up the roll. Captain. Flanders defies the rule of never handballing it to a ruckman. Well done. Boxall, Burns, Marshall dispossessed. Closey, Rioli, so fast. 3 bounces, blink of an eye stuff. Centering kick, darting kick. Can King mark it? He can with 2 bites.
We had a brilliant jump earlier, about 3 minutes ago. Looked very close to marking it, but coming off that half-back line, Rioli has looked dangerous. And it's a brilliant kick, but it still took a hell of a mark. Hasn't had much impact today. Big Ben King, right now's his moment.
So this to get him to 30 for the year and 3 off the lead in the Coleman, but he hasn't kicked a goal today. And his team need a real steadier. So King on the runway, straight and true for their 10th. It's back to 19 points, where we were at 3/4 time.
Yeah, well done. Set shot goal King's been a feature. No doubt about 8 goals, 4 now the Gold Coast Suns, so keeps himself involved in the play. Look at Rioli. So Rioli's very high up here off the back of the stoppage. He's playing as a half-back flanker, but really he's involved now. Sharman sees it late. He gets up there and tries to cover the back, but he just gets around, hangs around, waiting for that handball release. Good flick up there and finds that target. Ben King's, he's had a quiet day, Jared.
He has,
but he keeps completing, keeps presenting.
Yeah, great vision of just the opportunism of Rioli, just loitering in the back, just keeping on coming. Here's the Coleman medal numbers. Jeremy Cameron, who put in a blinder on Thursday night to start off the weekend, is in the front.
Witts, Miller, Rowell combine as they love to do. Kick to full forward. King with plenty of company. Caminiti pats it to his own advantage. Twice, 3 times. It keeps rolling 4 times. That's clever. And then Burns overruns it.
Great effort, Caminiti. Yeah, liked his game. Should have pumped him up before.
Just goes to show, Brown, if you keep the ball in. I think he was initially thinking boundary, but it didn't work for him, and he's gained 40, 50 metres for his club.
In some territory here. Saints 6-1. Clearance is in favour of the Suns this quarter.
Holman taken by almost 4 Saints to ground there.
Yeah, when you commit to that, you commit 4 to one person, you've got to be careful because on the outside was Miller and Anderson. Got to get the stoppage balance right here, the Saints.
Marshall down. Rowell and Anderson do the circle. High left boot. Hangs for a while. And then Sinclair kills it.
Hunter Clark would appear to have the responsibility for Noah Anderson. And he's just got to get tighter. You can't allow him to get off the chain. Swap over.
So Steele round the corner. There's a good trap by Philippou. His kick not as clean, but it was effective enough. Spirals towards the congestion, and then Holman runs it out.
It was a really good trap by Philippou. Kick wasn't as good, but he is hopefully going to have a really strong finish to this season after missing so much early. Geez, the next goal's important.
And out to Anderson, who was grabbed. Stalemate here at the moment.
Jared Witt's been enormous today too, so Rowan Marshall usually picks up a lot of disposals. Marshall just had the 8 himself. There he is, right on cue.
We heard the reaction as well. Rowan Marshall didn't like it. Hewland.
14 hit-outs to advantage.
Fly by, Hewland, long ball, and Sinclair, as always, in seat 1A for that one.
Outside 5. Outside 5. Outside play on.
So Boxall and Connell with the youngsters combining there. Rolling ball, and Philippou's happy to keep it rolling too. Towards forward 50. Owen's handball. Hoping for Steele, it got to eventually. Connell overran it, coming through Boxall, trying to make a difference since coming on. Rowell, over the top Fiorini, they're running hard off half-back here. The Suns with Rioli and also Ainsworth.
Just didn't shape up then, the Saints, under enormous scrutiny, their handball. It failed them.
So Rowell, Andrew, out to Jeffrey, switch on. Jeffrey forced himself in the end to kick it round the corner. Anderson trapped it okay. Noble does a 360, almost a 480. Finds Closey. And then Closey's short one inboard to Swallow.
And half-backs have had an influence in the last 5 minutes. Noble and Rioli both have featured involved setting up shots at goal.
Thinks about the pass. Gives it to Jeffrey, who loads up. Long kick towards goal, but offline. So with 12:55 left on the clock, Gold Coast looking for a couple of knockout blows. And the Saints just trying to grimly come back. Wood, the back there of Jeffrey, and man at the front claimed it. Anderson to Noble. So this time, the Suns switching to the near side. Hewland
Got to press up here, the Saints. They can't allow just the clock to be killed. They need to kick 4 goals if they're going to win this game. And this is just clock wasting.
Anderson. A wide ball, flirts with the boundary, and then that's come off the knee of King, I reckon. It's going to be a throw in.
Might have just been above the knee, Matty, maybe. Because it was certainly across the line. Let's have another look.
It went up. Has to be above the knee. Yep.
Physics is always your strong suit.
Yeah. Strong at physics, Matt. What about you?
And maths, you've been strong at the maths today too, 4 times 40.
My dad was a maths teacher.
Clark taken in a good tackle, and this could be a chance for a knockout blow.
Come right out. Time back on.
I like that he's competed so good. Part of the maturity and the growth for a key forward, especially Jared, is being able to compete all the way throughout the 4 quarters, because you need to understand it's a tough position. Limited numbers potentially, possession-wise, but you can have a small period of time where you can influence the game. And
that's now.
Yeah, and that's now. He's kicked the goal there in the quarter. Opportunity for a second.
So Ben King, crucial moments of this round 11 encounter, and he just leaves it open. It's the woodwork.
Damon Harvey's also experimenting. He's gone in with 3 tools and he's dropped it back to 2. King's come into his own, and then he'll be working towards a formula for finals, hopefully for them.
Looking for Paul, spilled by Ewan. Wanganeen Miller had kept it in. Bounce, didn't favour Hill. Fiorini retreats back. Rioli pumps it back inside 50. Long was spoiled, picked up by Roses. Kept it in play. Wobbly centering ball, not good enough for King, who couldn't quite mark it. Flanders with the crumbs. Handballs into space. Roses again. Player jumping all over him was Hall. Roses centering kick. Another clever bit of play to Jeffrey.
That's clever from Roses. There's a couple of kicks that were really good. One to King, he was very stiff not to mark that footy. And that one under pressure after coming out of the rodeo. He nailed the kick. Oh. Big kick. He's had a few cracks today, this young fellow, and let's see if Joel can nail one.
So he's had a fair bit of the pill with 24 touches, and he's got a fair leg on him as well. Directly in front, angle not an issue, and the distance isn't an issue. A big goal from Jeffrey, his 2nd goal of the year, but that's just about it.
Yeah, great goal. Just when St Kilda are coming, they're pressing along. It puts a nail in the coffin for sure. Really good set shot. For the most part, they've been really good with their set shot goal kicking today. Jeffrey's been solid all throughout the days. They're good numbers. Been a good pickup, hasn't he, from that Northern Territory Academy. Father played. Beautiful kick.
Hell of a kick.
Father played for St Kilda, of course. Jeez, did that easy.
So a crowd today officially of 13,486. As Rex Hunt once said, it's poultry. It doesn't mean they're all chickens, but 13,486.
Jared's been counting them all.
Burns. Back to Wilkie. Down to Steele, who claims he marked it. Umpire didn't really see it because he had Rowell all over him. Jones, Steele with a bit of frustration. Kick with a bit of interest. Sharman bobbled out of his hands. Powell, Humphrey, Andrew attacks the football, runs hard with it. Humphrey then took on his man like a rugby league player, then danced around like an AFL player. Went to Fiorini onto the left boot, kick towards half forward. Holman couldn't mark it. Owens picks it up. Holman grabbed him. Goes back to Caminiti. Little dance step from him. He's had a good game. Owens. Down the wing to a 50-50. Sharman. Powell worked his way into the front. Good battle between the two. Higgins with the roving. Trevelyan's kick straight down the throat of Rioli. So the Suns can blast down the corridor again through Anderson and Long. Long's kick. Walters at the back. There's a couple of steps off Caminiti and out. Here's the turnover here. Trevelyan's kicked straight to Rioli, and this is, I don't want to be on the phone here.
Yeah, that frustrating times with the young fella. Had a few times where he's just gone backwards.
Been a rich learning curve for him today. Burns off a step, hacks it out, bouncing ball, and should be insufficient. Certainly Jeffrey thinks so, barking at the umpire, but it is not going to be.
There he is. His sixth game.
So, of course, the Gold Coast coming in third on the ladder. That won't change with a victory tonight. They sit on a high percentage, such a high-scoring team at 132%. Side of the boot from Wanganeen Miller up. How will this bounce? Woods just keeps it in front of him. Jeffrey grabbed him eventually. Was hoping for Clark, but they've cocked it over again. Over Anderson to half forward, and Walter lace out.
It's brilliant footy.
So Walter to the top of the square. Oh, Wanganeen Miller in from the side.
He's worked hard all day, this young fellow. He's worth coming to the footy to watch.
He's kicked it.
Jones kicking, I think, just needs to tidy that up. We know he's a really talented kid.
Yeah. Sinclair, Owens, Hill, Steele called to play on. Hill has got a man who's literally just come on from the dugout, and that's Windhager. Intercepted by Noble. He goes jogging after it and out of play.
Defensively, so Damien Harwood could be happy with their effort across the board. Jared, you've held St Kilda to 46 points, albeit some more than a goal kicking. I think the effort's been there, which we would have been on lookout for. He said to us before the game he was worried about the start potentially. The taxing trip up in the Northern Territory, another away game this weekend. So you'd have to be happy with the application of the defensive side of the game.
Definitely.
Noble, good gather from Rioli. Then Noble met hard by Wanganeen Miller and halts play.
That's another side of their growth too. Remember last year we used to speak about and laugh about the Suns having to take their pillows on the road and all that sort of, because they couldn't win on the road. Well, now they've essentially done that the last 3 weeks.
Off the ground, Anderson in a foot race, arches the back. Picked it up, taken to ground by Wanganeen Miller, and a good little battle.
It's hard to see them not playing finals footy now, which will be a great reward for many that have contributed to the Suns, like Tony Cochran, who put it all on the line for a long period of time, former chairman. He's been their biggest public spruiker over the years.
Yes, no doubt about it.
Flanders. Another chance here for Miller. King, things are opening up. With a fatigue setting in for the Saints.
Nice movement.
And King can go back to, I'd say officially, ice it. He's kicked one already. It's a big ball to win there, left of screen with Flanders from Wilkie. You can see which way it went. Cam Wilkie that time. So King has a good look at his target from point blank and spears it through.
These Gold Coast next 4 games, so they've had some really challenging opposition the previous few weeks leading into this St Kilda game. They played all pretty much top 4 teams, so look at this now. Fremantle back into some form. Geelong, fantastic, bye, and then GWS. So it's a tough 3 weeks of football. They've got that bye reached in there just to freshen up.
Yep.
Up in Queensland, nice time to recover up there, Jared, in the middle of winter. A couple of waves.
Yeah, they'll be up there, Brownie, if they can pinch one from you.
Just sneak up there.
Yeah, it'll be a good game, good test for both clubs against Freo next week. The People's first.
Yeah, they were fantastic on the road 2 weeks ago against GWS last weekend.
So less than 6 minutes left in this round 11 encounter. Jones, Steele, Boxall from the centre for the Saints. Wood and Jeffrey to ground and Holman. Ainsworth. Kick towards half forward. Yep, Caminiti's done some really good things today.
Isn't it positive though, for sure.
Windhager across the face to Webster. Now to Burns. Hard worker as always too. Down the line, Sharman works his way to the front.
He's played well too, this man.
Developing into a very good footballer, and then on the chest of Wood. It's a better movement here for the Saints.
Bang.
Woods ball towards the square. It was just iced at the end by Holman, who got a fingertip to it.
I don't know what happened to McAndrew. So just behind the play, no one around him.
I'll just grab the ball like that.
Yeah, our behind the goal cameras will pick that up when we get to it.
Well spotted, Brownie.
There didn't seem to be anyone around him when it all happened. So he was going to be the last man to defend. Jack Higgins was screaming forward, and it looked like McAndrew was going to cut him off, but let's hope he hasn't done an Achilles or something like that.
Whilst we watch this, the lowest score for St Kilda this year has been 56. So they've come across a team that's a high-scoring team, and they've kept Gold Coast to 12. But they're just starting to fade out late here.
Yeah, they are.
They're still endeavouring to get a replay of what actually happened with McAndrew. But it's a shame because this man's celebrating his 50th this afternoon. Of course, he had that breakout season in 2023, played 17 games. And he's a terrific contributor. But obviously in a little bit of trouble at the moment. So we'll get a report with Sarah Jones as soon as we can, as Powell brings it back. You can see there, that tells the story. Saints just struggling to get it inside their offensive arc.
All eyes will be on where the ice pack goes at this stage. They're certainly grabbing down to that lower calf Achilles area.
Clark with the kick and hope came out to Woods, spreads it to Hill. Kilda Sinclair. Sinclair lowers the eyes. Kick towards O'Connell, and also Owens is hovering. O'Connell took it to ground. Steele on hands and knees. Out to Rowell, who's grabbed. Dan holding the ball. So that presents St Kilda with a set shot.
Sometimes you're just better off not picking the ball up.
10 metres. Noah. Another 5 metres. Noah. 5 metres.
Under Clark. Inclusion today. Played 2 games this year. Looking for his first goal of the season. He's lucky he's not even going to score a point. Didn't make the trip. Still in play. Noble. Leaves defensive 50, so they haven't scored at all there. And it's going to be a free kick, and St Kilda will get another chance.
Just having a look at that Matty Rowell replay, I'm just not sure what the rule makers are asking Matty Rowell to do.
Wanganeen Miller's kick to Marshall over his head. It's a tall man floating over him, and Higgins eventually taking it out.
Just having a look at your notes, Brownie. It's going to be a fiery couch.
What you call that, Joe?
Well, yeah.
Sinclair blazing away, kicks the goal. Dribbles it along the ground.
Might call Brownie is he didn't even get upright before he was trying to find some space to get away. Now, they will say he raised his arm. Well, I say he raised his arm to protect himself before he was KO'd.
Here we go again.
It's just so tight that the bloke, you're better off being the tackler. There's nowhere for him to go. He picks the ball up, gets smashed.
Here's the goal. Boys, Sinclair at the crumbs. He's fast off a step.
It's a good effort, wasn't it? A great goal.
It's like an ankle. Jared, outside. Mark Andrew.
Yeah, that's hopefully what it is. You'd rather an ankle than an Achilles or a soft tissue in many respects.
Blanketing Miller as ball floated towards Rioli, who's gone back there and popped one to the side. Wood given the free kick to Clark, who then just throws it on the boot. Doesn't score, it's still there, ricocheting around on the goal line. Noble went in hard. A few of these players with fatigue and also a bit proppy getting up, including Sharman. So ball upright near the goal square. Marshall took it upon himself. Philippou's hovering. Newland by hand out of the pack. Rowell was there. Hill's kick, pinballs around. Rowell. Handball out, only as far as Sinclair. Steele thought about a check side. Centering ball unselfishly to Owens.
Is that a quick look at the clock? Needs to hurry up.
So Owens with 2:40 left on the clock. And puts it through. A little bit of life there.
That's right, a little bit of life. So let's start with the centre clearances. So this back contest from Sam Collins at the goal square. Yeah. Probably a free kick in that one, I thought, Jared.
Not usually, Brownie.
Squares around, yeah. I'm not sure that didn't get paid, but anyway, so Kilda made the most of the opportunity. Good square up there by Jack Steele, the captain.
Wasn't in the back, was it?
Wagonine Miller with 35 touches today. That's a career best. 33 was his previous best. So certainly some respectability to the score with it back to 21. Mulligan in the middle. The umpire will have another go.
Centre bounce. They haven't been able to win those. Suns have been on top out of this part of the ground. They haven't necessarily scored from them, but they've been able to get territory from there.
You got an update on the potential injury, Sarah?
The club is saying at the moment it looks like an ankle. They're not fearing an Achilles.
You used to tape your ankles, Brownie, did you, when you played?
Compulsory. I'm not sure if it is anymore. Compulsory with training sessions too. For the Lions.
Yeah.
So closing stages of this one. Under Clark. Keeping it in. Wrapped up.
Still best practice, is it, Jed?
I think there's a lot of people think it's not best practice. Ironically, as soon as you do one, everyone takes them.
Flicked out to Flanders. Rioli. Grabbed by Sinclair. Philippou is going to take the advantage and hit Clark.
Here we go, quick.
So Clark from 50 metres out gets on with it straight away and misses to the left. So it's back to 20. Good sign, though, that they know the urgency. They're playing this right out to the end, having a dip.
There's a lot to like about what St Kilda have produced. No one's more aware of where they're at from a list basis than St Kilda themselves. They're building. They're trying to create good habits, and this is a good habit, just fighting this out and still playing some reasonable footy.
What have been the positives today, boys, from the St Kilda point of
I
view?
think either end. So the younger Keys, Caminiti, I think, has been fantastic. Obviously, Rookie's done a great job. We know what he does. And then Sharman at the other end is the forward.
I think Steele's had a good game. He's had some questions, but I reckon he's also done pretty well.
On Matt Rao.
Ben Long with the footballs, kicked 3 goals this afternoon.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. Continues on a great year.
Good long penetrating ball towards Waldo. Attempted to keep it in play, but to no avail.
I think Powell's job helped with Yearland on Jack Higgins. It's been outstanding. Jack Higgins, the premier small forward in the competition. Got him to 5 disposals. Hasn't troubled the goal scoring sheet.
So advantage paid from that ruck infringement. Philippou, Sinclair, 2 bounces, absolutely gliding along the wing to Owens. That's better. And he's going to lace out, hit Higgins. They really are seeing this out well.
But we haven't seen that sort of structure or that sort of method too much from St Kilda. And okay, the pressure might have dropped off to a degree, but we haven't seen Jack come up at the ball too often. He's always been trying to get out the back.
So Higgins from 49 metres out, hit it well, just a little bit off target.
Owens has been good too. Plays a little bit of backup rugby. Owens had 25 touches, 8 inside 50s, 10 score involvements, 2 goals too. So you're looking at younger players, aren't you? St Kilda, what's the future look like? So some bright spots there.
It's been all square the final term, back to 19 points as it was at 3/4 time, as Rail tries to break away from Caminiti. The clock ticks down here on a Sunday evening in Melbourne under the lid at Marvel. Out it comes. St Kilda's going to have one more crack before the siren sounds.
Good job, Whitson, of course, isn't he, Jared?
He's been a fantastic pickup. He's just been a great recruit from the Pies. And he's just gone up there and along with David Swallow, who we should have mentioned earlier as one of the original SUNS, has just been there through thick and thin.
And there is the siren. So after the humidity of Darwin last week, under the lid this week, they're a real contender. Their 8th victory in 2025, the Gold Coast Suns. For Ben Long, 2 for Ben Ainsworth and 2 for Ben King, the major goal contributors. Jonathan Brown, what impressed you the most about the Gold Coast Suns?
Just had to come down here and win. So they've had some really stiff opposition in the last month. Tough travel up to Northern Territory, even though it was their home games. Those 2 weeks in a row against Bulldogs and Hawthorn. So just on the lookout for energy levels today. They burst out of the blocks. Their pressure was outstanding, over 200 in the first quarter, Jared. So that set the tone for the game. They were able to win around the midfield without necessarily dominating scores from midfield. They transitioned the ball really well. It was a good effort. And if you want to play finals, these are the teams you've got to beat. They expect to beat the St Kilda team coming into the game. You need to beat them, and they did.
Yeah, they started in the middle of the ground, got the first couple away and kicked some early goals. But we'll come back after we hear from Sarah on the ground.
I've got Noah Anderson with me, a really mature professional win by the boys. What's Tim going to be most pleased with?
Probably not that last 5 minutes, but yeah, I think we just focused on the fundamentals today. Our contest in defense, our defense was a bit average today, but our contest stuff got it going and our stoppage stuff was really good. So full team performance really good.
Your own performance, another brilliant game. Do you feel like you're blossoming with the captaincy? Are you enjoying it then?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I feel so lucky that the club's put me in such a good position to lead the club, and I've got so many great people around me to support me. So loving every step of the journey.
Talk to us about the synergy you have with Matt Rao. You've played a lot of footy together now.
Yeah, that's right. I think we're in a good spot at the moment. You know, starting to really put some games together and consistently and getting wins. So I think that's the most important thing that as a little pair, we're helping the team win. I think we're doing that. So yeah, loving it.
Can you convince him to stay?
I'm doing my best. Hopefully the wins can help out a little bit, but no, he's in a good spot.
So you get to go home after a bit of time on the road. How much of a relief will it be to be able to get back into that routine?
Yeah, it'll be great. We've only played 2 games there, so it'll be really good to be home. We love it there. Played some really good footy there last year, so looking forward to getting in front of our fans again and putting on a good show.
So you're third on the table and consolidate that spot in the top 4. Still a very long way to go, but do you let your mind drift to later in the season on what this group could be capable of?
A little bit. Well, that's what we're here for, is to play finals. And we've never shied away from that, but we've fallen short of that. But I don't think there's any shame in hoping for the best. But we understand how hard it's going to be. And there's still so many steps that we have to take, and we'll probably fall short a few times throughout the year. But I'm really confident the group we've got is just so connected and wants to get better, and we'll get there eventually.
Some great moments by Daniel Rioli today. What a sensational pickup he has been. What's he bringing to this group, and that experience as someone that's been there and done that?
Yeah, like you said, that experience of being really calm and composed under pressure has been really good for the, you could call, young group. So both him and Johnny Noble have done such a fantastic job. So yeah, loving playing with him.
Congratulations on the win. We'll let you go and enjoy it.
Thanks very much. Thanks, guys.
So it's another win to the Gold Coast Suns. They continue to consolidate a spot in the top 4, and who knows just how far they might go in season 2025. So that means round 11 is all parcelled and wrapped up beautifully with a bow. Now it's time to get a little bit funky.
All right, folks. Hey, there we go. Well, the Gold Coast Suns, they did it. They hold on for a good 19-point victory here, 12-8-80. The Saints 8-13-61. You just can't kick wobbly. The Saints definitely. I tell you what, the Saints in the last minute and a half, they had a couple of shots on goal. Both went right of the goal post and went through behind. They were certainly coming like the Saints, but all too late. That's what we always say. Hey, you've got to forget Suns. Have Daniel Rioli. Yeah, Daniel Rioli's been pretty good for the Suns up there. A couple of players like Rioli and what's his name from Collingwood? The one Noble and John Noble been great additions to the Gold Coast Suns up there. Certainly brought a bit of experience and a bit of flair and a bit of speed and a bit of run to the Gold Coast Suns. And I think that's what the Suns lacked, is probably that little bit of that experienced leadership up there. So that's really good. Certainly when those two players are coming from, successful big clubs down here in Melbourne, I think that certainly helps them out. I tell you what, the Saints, can't believe that. Can't believe it. I think that's a game that they probably, they need to reflect back on. Look at all those behinds. They kicked 8-13. Wow, let's just have a look at the goal scorers. Hey, have you played the AFL fantasy points game? Wanganeen Miller topped it with 131 AFL fantasy points. Jack Steele 126, Matt Rowell 126. They were your top 3. Your goal scorers in today's game, of course, folks, was Cooper Sharman 3 for the Saints, Mitch Owens 2, Wanganeen Miller, Steele, Sinclair was singles, and of course for the Gold Coast Suns, Ben Long bobbed up with 3, Ben King with 2, Ben Ainsworth. I tell you what, how many Bens have they got in their team? Jed Walter, Took Miller, Joel Jeffrey, Nick Holland, Sam Closey, all with singles there for the Gold Coast Suns. The ball magnet, Noah Anderson, he must have had a fair last quarter. Zoomed up the top of the table with 36 touches, 23 kicks, 13 handballs, 5 marks, 2 tackles, 11 clearances. What a fantastic game from Noah Anderson. Wanganeen Miller always puts in 35 there for the Saints. He had 2 clearances and kicked 1-1. Jack Steele, 33. Took Miller, the next best for the Suns on 30. They were your top 4. They were the only 4 in the 30. I'm about to get pegged. Wish me luck. Good luck. Good luck. Get pegged. Enjoy. Mitch Owens, 25. Bradley Hill, 22 for the game. Who else we got there? Bondi Uland. There we go. Someone was asking about him. He ended up with 19 touches, 14 kicks, 5 handballs, 9 marks, and 1 tackle. There we go. You can always ask what player. We'll put his stats up. Daniel Rioli, 17 touches there for the Suns. He was pretty good. Who else we got? Mac Andrew went off. Looked like he went off with an actual ankle injury, they were saying. 13 touches. I tell you what, he'll be a big loss if he misses a couple of weeks. That is absolutely a big loss if he goes off. They thought it might have been his Achilles, but then later they're saying it's just his ankle. So we'll see what happens there. Jared Witts had a pretty good game there. 11 touches, 3 kicks, 8 handballs, 49 hit outs, 6 clearances. So really good. His opposing player, Owen Marshall, he ended up with 11, 5 and 6, 28 hit outs, 3 clearances also for him. There we go. David Swallow, a little bit soft on the touches there, just the 7 for him for the Gold Coast Suns. And Ben King, well, he kicked a couple, but he was quiet. He only had 4 touches, 3 kicks, 1 handball, 2 goals, 1 he kicked. All right, the team stats, let's have a quick glance at those before we wrap this game up. There we go, 27 plus to the Saints. The Suns used it better. Inside 50s, both teams had it plenty. 45, 57 to the Suns, 57. They had plus 12 inside 50. Free kick count, well, it kept on its merry way with St Kilda getting the good toe of the free kicks tonight, 20-11. I thought the umpiring, from what I saw, wasn't too bad in the game, actually. We've seen some bad calls, bad umpiring in the past couple of weeks. So glad to see, I think, this weekend the umpiring, well, they must have had a review of themselves and it seemed to be a little bit better to me. The hit-outs, the Suns won that by 21, big margin. The clearances pretty tight there. Centre clearances, though, the Suns dominated, 13-7 there. Contested possessions, uncontested, not a great deal difference in there. Pretty standard in the turnovers for both teams. 56-64. Marks just a 6 of difference. Good to see both teams getting marks inside 50, 12 and 16. Good to see their pinpointing. We had some games where they're like 4 for a whole game, so it's great to see forwards working reasonably well. 7-6 contested marks. Looking at the tackle count, both teams tackled well, but the Suns did it better inside their forward 50, didn't they, Ella Rose? 15 they got. The Saints only got the 6. We saw that. We did see the latter, the Gold Coast Suns, up to 32 points. Let me try and reload that so it's fresh. There we go, 32 points. The Gold Coast now sitting on third on the ladder with that game in hand, 32 points. 8 wins, 2 losses, 131.9. Got the second best percentage in the competition at the moment. And, of course, St Kilda down there in 14th. Struggling. I think most would have had St Kilda with a little bit better season so far. Played the 11, 4 wins and 7 losses. Let me just pull up 69%, by the way. 69% went for the Gold Coast Suns. So we got that one right, folks. Well done. I just want to bring you up to date with the games that these two teams play next week. The Suns, this should be a ripper game, and I expect the Suns to win this and win this comfortably. It all depends if McAndrew's in, of course, if he comes up from his ankle injury. The Gold Coast Suns next week, they play at People's First Stadium. They've got a home game next Saturday, 1:20 p.m. They're playing Fremantle. That should be a fascinating game. Wowee. Fremantle have got to make the trip right across the other side of Australia. That's going to be a long trip for them, but I expect the Gold Coast Suns to be too good, too strong for them. They're a very tough team at home to beat. And, of course, St Kilda next week, I tell you what, no easy feat. I think they're going to be in for some tears again next week because they're playing next Sunday at TIO Traeger Park in Alice Springs. Holy moly. Why are they going up there again to play? Well, there we go. Melbourne are taking on St Kilda. St Kilda. You know what? That actually might let St Kilda back in because that's going to be hot, and I don't think Melbourne or St Kilda are used to that. The heat of the hot weather up in Alice Springs. Wow-wee. Hey, wow. Well, what a great round of football this weekend, round 11. Let me just recap the winners this weekend. Of course, we had Geelong defeating Western Bulldogs. We had Essendon defeating Richmond. GWS were too good for Carlton. Of course, Hawthorn failed to get over Brisbane. Brisbane winning that by 33. The league ladders, Collingwood. I'll tell you what, North Melbourne put up a good fight, but Collingwood drew away for a good 45-point win there. We had Fremantle winning easily over Port Adelaide. Adelaide demolishing, made a demolition, there we go, over West Coast today. And of course we had Melbourne today absolutely spanking the Sydney Swans 131-78. And of course tonight's game, the Gold Coast Suns victors by 19 points over St Kilda. Hey folks, football is again on next Thursday, and we'll be back next Thursday. We've got some great matches coming up next week. Of course, it all kicks off next Thursday evening, 7:30 p.m. Melbourne time. We're heading up to the Brisbane, to the Gabba, where the Brisbane Lions are taking on Essendon, Alarosa's team. Brisbane taking on Essendon next Thursday night football. Of course, Friday night football is the game of the round. This is what I think. The MCG. Collingwood take on Hawthorn. Wow, that's going to be a big game. Collingwood take on Hawthorn. Let's hope Collingwood bring back some of their seasoned players. We need to fill some of those spots. Next Saturday, of course, at People's First Stadium, we've got the Gold Coast Suns taking on Fremantle. Game after that on Saturday will be the GWS Giants taking on Richmond. GWS Giants back in form. And of course, then you'll have this will be an interesting game, folks. Saturday evening, you've got Sydney Swans. Home game there at the SCG, taking on Adelaide. That will be a fascinating game. Now, Adelaide got up for a good win today over West Coast, but I'll tell you what, Adelaide will have to lift their form again, even though Sydney not performing well. That's going to be a fascinating game. And, of course, next Sunday, we've got two games on there with Melbourne taking on St Kilda up there in Alice Springs. And, of course, to round out round 12 next week, we've got West Coast Eagles at home. They're taking on the Geelong Cats. So that should be a fantastic game. And, of course, teams next week that have a bye, they can have a little bit of a rest up. A Carlton, North Melbourne, Port Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs. They've got the bye next week. But, what a fantastic few games of football we've got coming up next week. So make sure you come on back when we're doing that, and don't miss any of those games because they're going to be an absolute ripper. Where are we? Let me just head back there. Just want to have a look at that. Where was I? Where was I? Anyway, I just want to have a look at that Collingwood-Hawthorn game. So if you're a Brisbane, Adelaide. So we've got some good matches next week where Sydney take on Adelaide. That'll be good. Most people, I think, teams in the top 8 will be going for Sydney. And, of course, Collingwood taking on Hawthorn. There we go. You know what? I think a lot of people will be actually going for Collingwood against Hawthorn, especially these mid-round teams, because they don't want Hawthorn to get a game up. Western Bulldogs will have a bye, of course. Giants should probably come out winning next week. The Cats should probably come out winning next week. The Suns will win next week. Lions, Collingwood, hopefully they will win next week. That's what my predictions will be anyway. It's going to be a cracker. Who do you think will win Essendon game? I think Brisbane will win that game, Ella Rose. Unfortunately, I think Brisbane should win that game. You know, they're playing Brisbane up at the Gabba. I'll tell you what, Brisbane played the type of football they played grand final when they won. They were just brilliant. They were brilliant with a capital B. This weekend of football, they were just exceptional. So I think they're going to really, I think they'll struggle up there, Essendon, against Brisbane, who are back in form. So I know we can't take wins all the time. I know Essendon, you know, it'd be good if they could. I tell you what, I'll be cheering for Essendon. Don't worry about that, Ella Rose. I'll be cheering for Essendon to beat Brisbane Lions. Being a Collingwood fan, Brisbane's can take the top off the pie. So can the Gold Coast Suns, but I'll definitely be cheering on Essendon to beat Brisbane. But, yeah, I certainly think Brisbane will come out winning that game. That is for sure. Hey, thanks for coming in today, Ella Rose, for this game and the other game and the game before that. And Alex, of course. Thanks, Sarah, for popping on in. Joanna D. Strazen. Good stuff. Good to see you in here and everyone else. Of course, Tine, the manager, was in here. Thanks, Tine. Appreciate that, always coming in. AFL Edits, cheers for coming on in. Adrian Sports Channel, thanks for popping on in, bro. There we go. And of course, everyone else, we had lots of people coming in today, which is always good. We come and listen to the footy with everyone, have a chit chat. Even if you're watching the game, and you can watch the game live on TV or KO or Fox or anything like that, it's always good to watch it and have a bit of a chat to other footy fans as well in the chat. Makes it a little bit more interesting than just watching the game, so you can have a bit of a chat and let everyone know who you think's going to win. Have a vote in the poll. Hopefully you can hit that right. It's all a lot of fun watching the footy and bringing it to everyone out there. But hey, Sienna, how you going? Shouty. Sienna's saying hi. I'll say hi, Sienna. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. I think, is this the first time you've come in? I think it's the first time I've seen your name there in the chat. Welcome in. There we go. So we'll be back. Folks, next Thursday evening. I think that game's about 7:30. 7:30 next Thursday evening. That's when we'll be back for the Brisbane Lions taking on Essendon up there at the Gabba. That will be our next game. But for me, this time out from Marvel Stadium in Melbourne, where this game was played, the Gold Coast Suns 12-8-80. Too strong for the Saints, 8-13-61. It was the Suns by 19 points. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for coming in. Much appreciated. Until next time, ciao for now, and we'll see you at the next game.